I get like, you know, each one. I feel like that's going to take me longer to be able to figure out. Um, Sorry, I'm going to step away from my child. To figure out than to be able to turn in the outline for this week because there's so much that I would have feel like I have to go through to make the chart.
Okay. I understand. Yeah, if you, like I said, for the outline, well, if it takes you longer, then that's okay. And if there's like some other media source that you are more familiar with other than Facebook, like if it was Twitter or on Instagram or something with a profiles of political figures, you can use that instead of Facebook if you're not as familiar with Facebook as well. We'll go ahead and take a look at that. And use Maine and Mac, y'all just joined. We're just basically going to really focus on the outline. And I know there is a midterm too, and I know Mac, you emailed me about that also. So for the midterm, for all the tests in this class, it is set up to where you should be able to take it multiple times. So do not feel like, if you didn't do well on it, then that's your grade. Same with papers and things like that. If you got an assignment back and somehow you didn't do very good on it, then you can always go back and resubmit it. Because my goal is for you to be successful in the class. But we'll definitely go look at that outline. We're going to really talk about it. And if you're not able to collect all the data on the chart, as long as you can, as long as you can do like a basic, overview of the main points that you are planning to discuss or evaluate, even if you're not able to collect all that data, that would be okay as well.
Okay.
Use Maine.
Hello, I'm so sorry. I have a quick question before we start. Is that okay, or would you like me to ask at the
Yes,
end?
that's fine.
Okay, so for the like the feedback, I looked at it for the major revised version of the essay. I'm so sorry, there's background noise, but the major revised version and the actual essay. Um, I saw that you said you added 10 points, but the grade remained the same.
Okay, I'll fix that for you.
Okay,
Are you in the 5-4 or the 5-5 or the 5-6?
5-5, I believe.
5-4, okay. I'll add that. I was trying to get because I realized I needed to get those back, so I apologize. It took me a while, and like I said, I'm working on getting all the revisions back right now to that paper. Let me see. Use Maine. I think that you're maybe the 5-5. Is it 5-5?
5-5. Yeah, 5-5.
Okay. Yeah, if you ever notice anything like that, please let me know and I'll fix it for you. I was trying to add those points for remembering that you showed up to the meeting and whatnot as I was grading it to not forget about it. But if I forgot to add that, let me see.
Also,
You
I
say
was
yes. I do see that I forgot to add that to it. I'm sorry about that. And I do think I added some to some of the other students. So
also I was wondering what you meant by formatting.
hmm
So, like,
So the
what?
formatting for your paper, let's see what I was trying to say. I think that um because your paper it was very long. It was really like I think I'm looking at the the multimodal narrative. Let's see. I think I actually clicked on the wrong. Oops. This is the wrong paper. Let me make sure I find the right paper first really quickly. You did the Anne of Green Gables, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I know there's, I think, two students that did the Anne of Green Gables and East Maine. So I had the bonus for the second one. Okay, so um, Amy, did I add yours to it either? I don't think I added yours either to it. Your paper, I'm not. You see, this is the genre analysis. I think I didn't add yours either, so I will add that. So it'd be okay. All right. And I'll go back and add yours too, Amy. Okay, always so that's just the formatting is analyzing the citation before setting another claim and signing again. So when in citation formatting, it's APA format. If you cite the year in the brackets, that's actually APA. That's not MLA formatting. So even if it's, if it's an article and all you knew was the article title, just even citing that in quotes in brackets is MLA. But and putting page numbers is MLA. But the year that something was released or published is actually APA format. But just always make sure to analyze the citation before just moving into the next citation. At least have a sentence or two explaining how that's proving your point before moving into the next citation. And so that's why I put formatting.
Oh, okay. Are you looking at the major revised version?
I'm looking at the original paper.
Oh, because I fixed all those mistakes in the revised version.
Okay, let me see. And then, okay, let me, I did not add the bonus. If I didn't add the bonus, I will do that right after this meeting. Amy, I see that I didn't add yours either. So I'm gonna do that also for the original draft. Okay. Okay, for the revision. Okay. Major revision of SA2. So there's still one place, this is for example in chapter 29, and attends, and it has Montgomery, and then you cite Montgomery again right after that. So just you would want to expound on it in a little bit more detail before stating another claim, and you say another claim, and then a cite again in that paragraph. That was what I was just noticing. And then, citing on one line, there's Anne of Green Gables, The Good Stars. That just means that you cite on that same line. So it's basically kind of chopped off where it says Anne of Green, and then the next line has Gable. So you would just put it all in one line and then italicize the citation. So that's correct formatting. It's just it was not italicized. We have the first part of the first few paragraphs, and then there's also one paragraph that you cited, and then there's a conclusion sentence. So you would just want to have one more sentence at least explaining the citation or reflecting on it, reflecting on the citation before the conclusion. But that was great that you had that many sources in your paper as well. It's a lot of research that you did. Those are just some things that I noticed. And let's see, did I think that I meant to give you the 10 extra points on this as well on the revision. So I will fix that also. So that would be let me fix this also. Do you have any questions about those points?
No, thank you so much for clarifying it for me.
You're welcome. Yeah, I want to update that too because trying to give you extra points on the revision worksheet and the paper, because it is really important to come to the Teams meetings if you can, and you get extra credit by coming to the meetings. And let's see, I want to go ahead and share my screen with you. And I know that Kane, you just came in. I hope you're doing well. Does anyone else have questions before we talk about the module for this week? Okay, so we'll go ahead and just move into the model. And like I was telling Amy, if you feel like you don't have time to collect the data, all the data, as long as you and you can really work with the information in that article that kind of goes with the major assignment, the little mini project that was due. And like I said, for those that just came in, I got all the first drafts of the SA2 back, and I am working on getting all the revisions back as well. So I should have the revisions back to you this week pretty soon. And then I'll be getting the other ones back to you as well. So we're on week 10, and there is there is a midterm. You can take it, and I'm going to make sure it should say that you can take it multiple times, but just review the PowerPoints from weeks 1 through 9. And that should help you on the midterm. It's mostly, I think, like multiple choice. I think I put true and false. I don't really think that I put any. I don't think I put any short answer on it. I'm gonna see if it says multiple attempts on here. So I don't see graded quiz. Okay, so I do need to put multiple attempts. So I will need to do this for each class, because let me do that really quickly too before we start, because I want to make sure that if you need to retake it or feel like you need to, that you have the opportunity to retake it, because like I said, it's just basically going over those articles, and I think some is like rhetorical appeals, things like that in the PowerPoint. So just reviewing over those PowerPoints and will help you to do well on that. But like I said, you can take it as many times as you need to be successful on it. And like I said, I believe it's multiple choice and true and false. I don't think that, I mean, if I did put a short answer, it would not be very long. And so I don't really think that, and I think it's like 20 questions. I don't think I have 40 questions on it. I think it's about 20 questions. It's not really that long either. The final exam, I think, has close to 40 questions on it. So, it's not allowed. This one has allowed multiple attempts. The other class, I'm sorry, the 254, if you've already tried to look at that, it did not have multiple attempts. So I want to make sure that these are all correct so that you can go back and take it. Has anyone started to look at or tried to take the midterm yet? It's not due until the 20th. Okay, yeah. So just make sure that I said, I just review those PowerPoints that I put together each week, and review the readings if you have time. And like I said, you'll have multiple attempts on the midterm. So I made sure to click that so you can go back and retake it. And if you have any questions about it, let me know by email as well. Okay, so for this week, so we have the midterm, the outline, and then there is an exercise on synthesis. It is a quiz. And basically, this is just kind of going over MLA formatting. You choose the correct format of the citation. And I'll probably will add, because I found that we are supposed to have some sort of AI integration. I'll probably add something to the research topic proposal where you ask AI to generate a proposal versus what you come up with. So if you write out your proposal first and then ask AI and compare and contrast the two, what you could learn from AI, but also what makes your writing, your ideas distinct from AI, just to see how it's helpful. But once again, that you can use it to help you generate ideas, but your own ability to come up with specific points and whatnot is also more, so it obviously can be more precise than AI, especially with something that you've been studying for a while. So just seeing the differences between what the AI comes up with versus what you come up with would probably be a good idea. And to show you, it can help you to come up with ideas for papers. And you can bounce off ideas from the chat box, but I don't really recommend using it more than you have to, just if you are trying to think about ideas or getting ideas for a paper. If you're reading a book and asking it to summarize the main points, just if you are studying it as a study tool, if you're studying it for a test or something like that to help you review, that's also a good tool. But so basically, this is just on, like, if you on the works cited page, the synthesis exercise. Just, I think I only put like 2 examples, and it's only 2 points because it's only 2 questions, and you just choose the citation that is cited correctly. And there's like 2 options, and you choose one or the other and 2 questions. So that won't take you very long either. But this is the outline for the thematic analysis. Okay, so and so I know I did put this big graph here and everything. And so basically that the thesis, so indicate your stance about Facebook's authenticity regarding media bias linked to 1 to 2 political profiles. Like I said, I know I did put this graph here to show you as an example. Let's look at the first paragraph again here. So the first paragraph on methodology, of course, you transition from the last paragraph, and then you explain how you codified data and created themes that prove your thesis. Remember, themes such as trust of experts, mistrust of experts, certainty should have clearly defined code phrases that you glean through researching how ads tied to profiles, community interaction, and other modes tied to the algorithms are shown. And this is explained in that article that from the mini project, that I think those keywords, the trust of experts, mistrust of experts, I believe that those are terms, or if it's not in this, there is, I believe I posted an article on thematic analysis too. I go backwards. Let me see if I can find it for you. So on the lesson plan, I believe if it wasn't for this week, it would probably be for additional resources. No, let's see. Maybe I put it maybe in the week 11. Okay. I want to see if, well, because I believe that I did have a resource on just like the week 10 again. Week 11. Okay. Okay, let's see. Yeah, here it is. So this is how to do a thematic analysis, and we'll look at this too. But I believe this explains it pretty good. So I really recommend that you read this, the Scribber. It does explain what a thematic analysis is. It's a method of analyzing qualitative data. It's usually applied to a set of text, such as an interview or transcripts. The researcher closely examines the data to identify common themes, topics, ideas, and patterns of meaning that come up repeatedly. There are various approaches to conducting thematic analysis, but the most common form are familiarization, coding, generating themes, reviewing themes, defining and naming themes, and writing up. Following this process can also help you avoid confirmation bias. So this kind of goes through, and like these steps are all important, but since you are going to be evaluating profiles, you probably should not take quite this long to do that. But it says thematic analysis is a good approach to research where you're trying to find out something about people's views, opinions, knowledge, experiences, or values from a set of qualitative data. For example, interview transcripts, social media profiles or survey responses. And so it even gives like types of questions. And so you can obviously make your own questions about what you're looking for, what criteria you're looking for Facebook's honesty with, your evaluation of Facebook's use of politics and whatnot, or whatever media platform, if you rather use Twitter or Instagram or I don't know, even TikTok, but I don't really think there's a profile on TikTok, so it'd probably just be Instagram or Twitter. And so to answer any of these questions, you would collect data from a group of relevant participants. So in this cases, you're just collecting data from the Facebook or the media platform. Thematic analysis allows you a lot of flexibility in interpreting the data and allows you to approach large data sets more easily by sorting them into broad themes. And then it says pay close attention to the data to ensure that you're not picking up on things that are not there. So there's an inductive approach, or deductive. Inductive involves allowing the data to determine your themes, and deductive involves coming to the data with some preconceived themes you expected to find reflected there. Probably you're you have some sort of preconceived themes about, the use of media bias. So probably you'll want to take the more of the deductive approach here. And there's also the distinction between semantic and latent approach. Okay, that's kind of irrelevant. So basically, the process is first step is to get to know your data. It's important to get a thorough overview of all the data you've collected. This is saying that this might involve transcribing audio. This would just be probably taking notes from your observations. And then coding. Next, we need to code the data. Coding means highlighting sections of our text, usually phrases. So you're just looking for patterns when you're viewing the website. You're looking for patterns and themes tied to whether you believe that they're using they are using media bias and how that connects into the algorithm. Essentially, that's essentially all that you're doing. Even if you feel like I know I've seen other politicians from the past, that they're trying to really advertise also, like even if you're looking at, you might even say, well, you saw this advertised for another candidate's campaign on social media and through this platform, and even that would still be part of your reflection on like how Facebook is presenting that data and whatnot as well. But generally, you're just looking at like that if they're posting, the politician is posting a lot, what they're posting, in like how Facebook is presenting that data. And if you see like anything that Facebook is even trying to maybe, I guess, censor, or, like that they, if there's anything that was like that they're trying to get them to word certain things in a certain way. Like I know that's a big thing on social media platforms is sometimes for particular reasons you can't even say certain words because of the standards of like YouTube or other things like that as well. And I guess YouTube, there is a page for Donald Trump on YouTube and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. You can find I think their YouTube pages. You could even evaluate data through YouTube, and that might be also a resourceful way to find, videos and content and see what is allowed and what isn't and how they present the data as well. And if you are evaluating Facebook and you see YouTube come up, looking at the standards that the video had and based on media bias as well, if you see a video on their profile from YouTube or something like that. But yeah, even YouTube does have profiles to some extent. It's not like you would think a traditional profile, but you could like type in and you see the official, whatever, Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Let's see, trying to see if there is an official. I know there's one, or I found one, I think, for when you just type in, yeah, if you go to like Joe Biden, there's a page that has his videos, and you could, and Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, and though it's all videos, I mean, you could even evaluate that because there would be, I mean, that's a really, even though it's not like the candidate is like they're writing on their page, like on the Facebook or the Twitter. And like I said, if they're using that, then that's also going to be interesting because of the fact that, they do have stricter standards on YouTube about like what can be said or what's considered to be controversial and things like that. So those are the types of things that you're looking for, as well as, how they're advertising, what type of audiences they're trying to reach, how they are engaging with their opponents and things like that. Those are all some things to really look at and think about when you are evaluating these profiles. So like I said, if you feel like you don't really like the Facebook, that you could use even YouTube. Amy?
Could you like pull up just one of their profiles and give us like a specific example on what exactly that we should be looking for?
Sure. Do you want me to do this with the Facebook?
It doesn't matter, whichever one you want to use.
Okay. I'm just gonna even go to YouTube and then I'll go to Facebook here. Let's see. Think that this I don't know if I'm okay. Not sure what's going on with the YouTube here. Try searching to get started. I think sometimes I'm signed in, sometimes I'm not, but let's just say you typed in Kamala Harris into the YouTube. So I really like to watch YouTube a lot myself. So, but see, you see here, like I mean, this would still count as a profile. And so this is her like official page here. And then you could see her campaign ads and everything like that. And then you see the links here to Facebook and Twitter. And this gives you a direct link to Facebook. I mean, like her profiles are all on here. And so this is her Facebook. That's one reason why I picked Facebook, because you do see like their postings and how they're engaging with their opponents and things like that. She says Donald Trump tanked a bill to improve border security just so he can win this election. And then we see some videos and the video clip here as well. And then she's, once again, she's talking about what her opponent has done. That's and engaging with, why she doesn't approve of what he's done. And then she's making a claim. You could even talk about like this, like, with ethos, pathos, and logos. She says, as president, I will expand Medicare to cover home health care for seniors. So basically that, she's using, um, she's trying to gain credibility and use ethos here. So you could like even use, your knowledge of rhetorical appeals when you're evaluating these, and then your knowledge of logical fallacies too. If there's any logical fallacies that you see in their attacks, like between candidates, or if you were looking at another profile of a politician that maybe that they were in the race but they dropped out, but they're still engaging with, obviously they still have content. You can look for like, like I said, any logical fallacies like red herrings or straw mans or anything like that, and then really focus in on, ethos, pathos, and logos as well to kind of evaluate how they're presenting the arguments and how, what message that Facebook is trying to send, or whoever it is. If you want to just evaluate the videos off of YouTube, you can do that also. I think that it may be a little bit easier to collect data using this because look, they're all her like photos. I have her ideals that she's going to present and try to promote her campaign, and then they're just kind of summed up in these little advertisements here. And there are people engaging with, the people engage on those videos as well, but you do see people comment, or you could check out, if there are any comments, and sometimes they block the comments here. But any claims that they make, check out the validity of it, and basically looking at the types of, like I said, the logical fallacies or the rhetorical appeals they are using, and the logical strategies they're using, and evaluating that with how, and their type of audience they're appealing to, and things like that are all factors that will show whether you think that Facebook is not showing media bias. If there are, even if they're just being biased, you think to like a certain age group, you could even make that part of your criteria, or certain people, like if they're not showing equality and to everybody, looking for the factors of inclusivity and equity in their campaigns, and the way that Facebook is presenting that. If Facebook is presenting their campaign in a bad light, then obviously that is not good, and that's part of media bias if they are not giving the candidate an equal opportunity to say what they have to say, and trying to paint them in a bad light. Those are all things that you're looking for in general. I mean, don't think that you're gonna see too much of, but you never know. Like with this, that if you once you start comparing this campaign, you compare it to another one, and then you see the differences and how it's presented, or this is just one. So I recommend looking at least two or three, and then really focusing on those those one or two profiles. Yusme, do you have a question?
Yes. So are we mainly focusing on like the graphs that you provided, or the profiles of the candidates, or Facebook's algorithm? Like which one are we focusing the most on when we're writing the essay?
So you're going to be focusing the most on the way that the Facebook is portraying it, and the algorithm. Those two you're really going to try to focus on. The graph. And I know that was that. Let me go back and look at what I had put for the graph, and if you feel like that is something that you really don't have time to do or find, even if you can, let me see how I worded this again for the graph. So let's see. So identify how media bias is represented by either finding visual graphics or creating a chart. So you can find visual graphics that kind of sum it up as a visual aid that you can use to explain. So you don't have to make a chart, because that does take a good amount of time. But even like a chart like this, you could add and kind of say, well, your Facebook is only catering to mostly this age group. And so that is something that you would make note of. If they're not appealing as much to Generation X as they're appealing to millennials and baby boomers, and that's saying that that's still part of media bias, and you could talk about that. It's more of an aid to help you find something specific to talk about. So this, you could possibly use this chart as an explanation of your data. So you can find stuff like this on the internet without having to make a chart that will explain, the fact you think Facebook is catering more to, so actually with this, the way this is, it would be, they're catering more to millennials. Sorry, I was looking at it incorrectly myself. So they're catering more to millennials, and actually Generation X, and then they're not catering as much to baby boomers. So they're really trying to reach the millennials and some Generation X, and then really they don't care about the baby boomers. And that's more, the local TVs are really impacting the baby boomers. So we see that the local TV, the more older people are watching the TV, while Facebook is just really focusing on the millennials, because they were around when Facebook probably was just launching and whatnot. So that's still a part of bias, though, because they're not wanting to also reach the older generation. You could still argue that. I mean, it would not be invalid to argue that. But essentially so you would use that chart to explain your findings. So it's just a way to kind of sum up like how you feel you say, well, Facebook is only focusing on the millennials really, and so therefore the way that they're presenting this data is skewed because they're only focusing on these things that millennials are more focused on. And then you could explain what what things millennials are more focused on and looking for a candidate than the baby boomers, and how that they're only just focusing more on these, while maybe Twitter or someone else is focusing in their platform. They're focusing on things that the baby boomers would be more interested in. So that's basically all you're going to be doing in that first paragraph. And if you got this from a source, you do want to still cite the author's name or article title where you got it from. And so identify how media bias is represented by either findings. So we already talked about number 3, and then you conclude by summing up how and why the data and methods used were effective. And then in the next paragraph, it says an introduction to results, including graphs or charts, visual data. So then you transition from the last paragraph, explaining how the results shown should be interpreted in more depth. And then explain how the methods and statistics used connect to the algorithm in depth, and then explain how the chart above or the other collected data that provides the most specific evidence proves your claim. So then you would explain how the methods and statistics connect to the algorithm. So then you would explain how that's tying in to the algorithm. That's your claim, and then explain how the chart above or other collected data that provides the most specific evidence proves your claim. Cite evidence from Facebook, and when you cite evidence from Facebook or whatever, even if it's a tweet or a post, then you could bring in, well, that this was what was said, and put it in quotes, from a post on Facebook. And then I know in this case you probably are just going to want to cite Facebook in brackets, because I think that's the only way you really are going to decide. There's not a paragraph or page that you would really be citing. You could obviously, whoever is the author of that quote that you are pulling from that page, you could say, according to this person, and then just put Facebook in brackets. That's probably the best way to cite that. And then the third body paragraph is transition from the last paragraph by summing up the relevance of your contribution to the great debate regarding Facebook's representation of political discourse, and explain how the visual data from scholarly articles, interviews, statistics, and other methods proved your point. So I think I actually messed this up myself here, because so we have the first two, so we have paragraph A, B, and then C. And this is so that's not the conclusion paragraph. So there should be one more paragraph. I'm probably gonna have to fix this. You'll probably just have another reflection on the data. Let me fix this myself, because I realized that, and I mean, we could just make it a 4-paragraph essay. That's probably long enough. I mean, I know in a sense, but I know it needs to be 5 paragraphs to meet the criteria for 5 to 7-paragraph essays, where the research paper will be 6 or 7 paragraphs. So I'm just gonna say that as long as you can just explain how the visual data from any scholarly articles, interviews, and other methods proved your point, identify specific loopholes. I'm just going to say that your claim is going to be just make another claim about identify specific loopholes in data or specific facts that expose the truth, and then cite any new information. That's, just if there's any new information, then you conclude that paragraph. So just make sure to go back through your data and everything you found. If there's anything new, if there's nothing new you found, still just reflect on whatever your findings are there, and then in the conclusion, then you want to just sum up, explain the relevance of your data, explain how your research stands out, what methods did you use that were unique, conclude by summing up the main point. And so let's see. I did see one more typo, I think, in here for this paragraph here. It's shown should be interpreted in more depth. Okay. And I will update this. So I apologize for that too. But like if you don't find anything, and I probably need to also just put whatever you would cite would just probably be Facebook in brackets because it's not going to probably be a page more than likely unless you do other outside research. So if you include other outside research that's helping you write your paper, that is perfectly fine. Like if you find more articles on Facebook and the algorithm that's going to help you, please feel free to include as much research as you would like. I feel like that is really important because the more you read about the algorithm and data, the better your writing will be. But yeah, the thesis is really just focusing on the authenticity, and tying in that algorithm as well. So there is a central point in each paragraph that that like just to focus in on when you're looking for these things. So Corey can also doing research on the algorithm. As of 2024, the Facebook algorithm determines which content is most relevant to a particular user based on 4 main rankings: who posted it, so you're more likely to see content from sources you interact with, including friends and businesses. So that's something to make note of. So I encourage you, and I posted that article, in that little mini project. So, do the reading on the algorithm, and I did. You already had that for the last little mini project, that whole little article on the algorithm. Use Maine.
Yes, I was just wondering, how exactly are we supposed to use Facebook to collect codified data that we can help prove our thesis?
So, basically, you're just going to be looking at the profiles and finding, patterns and themes with it. So that's what all you're doing is going to be looking at the data, and like I said, focusing on any instances where you see, media bias, or whether you're seeing equality in how they're presenting their data. And so you're just going to be collecting data and then writing themes based on what you've seen to help you to collect that data.
Okay, do we have to include like charts or papers or graphs in the essay, or how
Yeah,
would we
so
do it?
the graph, so this is an example that you can find these without making a graph. You can go on Google and type in political Facebook an algorithm chart or anything like that, because I found this on just doing a Google search. And if it came down to, and you agree with this chart, you could even put the chart in your paper and explain how it's connecting to your findings as well. But essentially, let me see here if I can show you how you can actually find a graph. Let's see. I have to remember how I found that. But chart on Facebook. Okay. So here's one here. It says total interactions on content before and after. Well, let's see wherever it's at in here. Okay. Before and after the election, and this was the 2020 election, but that you still think that's relevant, you could still connect it to, you could say, well, this is what it was like then, and then compare it to now. whatever you found now. So right-leaning pages, left-leaning pages. So this is basically saying that that Facebook is in 2020 is catering more to the right-leaning pages, right-wing pages. And you could then see if you can find another chart or do some more research and see how that compares now or whatever you found. If you think this is accurate, why? And just, all you do is you just copy and save. What I do is I do this, I just save it to the computer, and then you would just put that in your paper. So that way you don't, like I said, you do not have to actually make a chart or anything like that. That's too time consuming and whatnot. But that way it'll help you to do that. If you really just still struggle with the chart, I'm not going to count off I'm not going to count off like any major points if you don't have it, but you do need to explain how some sort of data is going to be proving that what is stated for the methodology. That would need to be clear. Kane
Okay,
did.
thank you.
Uh-huh. I'm sorry, I just saw that Kane had a. Kane, do you still have a question?
Yes, ma'am. Just to clarify and maybe to help answer her question, could we not also do external research on Facebook's terms of service and content policies and regulations and how
Yeah,
those have been enforced to
that's
show how they may affect certain groups or create biases?
yes, that would be great too. If you would rather focus more on that, and if you would rather make that the theme of the paper rather than the political profiles, even you could. I mean, though it is a thematic analysis, you could still come up with criteria and patterns that you could you could either incorporate it or base it on that as well. But that would definitely. Are you still wanting to research the political profiles and tie that in, or were you wanting to do that separately?
I would tie it into additional research about the political profiles.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yasmin, did you still did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you so much. Just wondering, how much criteria must we have to analyze this?
Okay, so I would just say that you need you want to try to include, like I said, try to include a chart or whatnot that's going to explain it and give specific evidence from the profiles themselves, with what they're posting, or any posters or videos. So I would say I would evaluate the posters on the Facebook, their posts and interaction with others, and any videos. So by gathering data on that, and then also Kane says he's looking at the policies and procedures for Facebook in connection to this data too. You can also do that as well.
Okay, thanks.
But yeah, the 3 paragraphs. So that's why it is important if you can bring in a chart, because it will make it easier. And then all you need to do is find evidence to say, well, this is true because you found this data to be accurate in a post that just was reaching out to millennials or whatnot. So you could use this to help you just kind of explain how this is accurate based on your findings. And you've looked at the posts, you've looked at their videos, and you've looked at their posters or whatnot that they've included on their profile. And any other ads, if you see them on Facebook, that besides just looking at the profile, whenever you see them like on Facebook, or if you're on another page and you see it advertise what they're advertising as well. And you're really focusing on the rhetorical appeals of ethos, pathos, and logos, and connection to the media bias, and trying to disprove media bias, hopefully, as opposed to promoting media bias. And those logical fallacies as well, which I know that I'm pretty sure I put logical fallacies in that first PowerPoint. And then we have talked some about ethos, pathos, and logos. I believe that ethos is ethics and getting credibility, as an author, that they try to gain credibility, or if it's a politician through their speaking and their rhetoric. Pathos is appeal to the emotions, and so like if you saw an ad about animal shelters and wanting you to donate, that would be appealing to your emotions by showing a picture of an animal that needs help. That's another example. And then logos, like with ads and things like that. And I know I put that in the quizzes, and it's also in that midterm. Like if you saw an ad that says, it was comparing the McDonald's Big Mac with the Whopper, and they really show a huge burger for the Whopper. And it says, which one would you choose? And of course, you would choose you wouldn't choose the Big Mac, you would choose the Whopper. So like basically that we see um, rhetorical appeals and all the time, and we definitely see it with politicians that are, um, you know, that are using rhetoric to reach, masses of people and trying to engage those by using these rhetorical strategies that we're learning as well. And Carrington, do you have any questions? I think that I know about your paper. Did you resubmit the paper? I don't know if she is able to hear me. Does anyone else have questions about the paper? And like I said, if you have any questions, just send me an email or a text message. And I'm working on getting your revisions back to you on this. What I'm going to be getting back to you this week are the revisions of the SA2. Carrington? Carrington, can you hear me? Carrington, can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I don't know if she's raising her hand then, but I don't know if she's not able to hear. So, well, like I said, if y'all have any questions, please let me know, and I will get back to you as soon as possible and be getting those revisions back to you and working on the other assignments as well. And Yusvain?
So sorry, I just want to have a quick rundown. So for the paper, you just want us to get identify 2 approaches that we'll take to analyzing it, get 2 graphs for those 2 approaches, and then prove how those graphs prove that Facebook is either credible or uncredible. Is that correct?
So you really only have to have, I believe, one. If you just, like I said, you just find a chart. So I showed you how you research. Just use that chart and really focus on that data here. And then in the second body paragraph, let's see, in the second body paragraph, you wanted to talk about the method, explain how the methods and statistics used connect to the algorithm in depth. So you want to still expound on that same chart, but in more detail, define the algorithm and explain how it's tying into the algorithm in more detail. Give another point of evidence from Facebook, whether it's a video or a poster or something like that to cite here, explain, well, this candidate had this poster and explain the poster, and you're not going to know, sometimes you can't quote, but you can quote whatever is on the poster or the post or explain the video and cite it from Facebook here. And then the third body paragraph, you are just going to be in identifying any loopholes or specific facts that expose the truth based on what you said above in more detail. So you just keep elaborating on that and cite any new information if you found any. If not, you just kind of still reflect on what you have found, and then the conclusion, you're just going to really explain how your research stands out. That's pretty much the main things, but it's just really focusing on that one chart that you found. And like I said, all you have to do is type in Facebook political chart algorithm, something like that, and you'll find, like I said, I found all these and that you could go through and just find and see how that ties into what you found.
Okay, that makes it so much more clear. Thank you so much.
Does anyone else have any questions? Well, so we'll meet again on Tuesday, and we will go in over the paper in more depth as well. So that's what we'll spend on Tuesday. And like I said, that you do have multiple attempts on the midterm. That, like I said, is multiple choice, true and false. And I believe it's only like 20 questions, but you can go back and retake it if needed. So I made sure to do that while we're on the Teams meeting to give you the multiple attempts. Kane?
I just wanted to say I feel like Carrington may be having technical issues, or they may be on a device without a microphone, and you might want to remind her how to email you.
Okay. I've tried to reach out to her on the chat. She has been emailing me. I may just send her an email after this to check. But she's not responding to the chat either. So that's why I'm not. But yeah, I think she may be having. She's not responding to what I'm saying. I tried to send her a message in the chat, but I will. Yeah, we'll email her after this as well. Thank you, Kane.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk about the paper in more depth next class, and then after that, the paper, this last paper is due. That there's no major papers due until the research paper. So basically, we'll just spend the whole entire last few weeks which is still several weeks, just to go over the all the information for the research paper, and that will give you more time to work on that as well. And like I said, if you have any questions, please let me know, and I will be glad to get back to you as soon as possible.